we've been praying for you through the year, and I know what you went through this year. I know times like that remind you of how well loved you are,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody comes out of the woodwork, and it's just like
Yep.
I used to say the best of times, the worst of times. The best of times in that everybody just showers you with love, even while you're going through something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you felt?
Absolutely. I felt so lifted on wings of prayer. I really did.
Yeah,
And it really re-inspired me always to uh, to pray for people going through stuff.
right.
It's powerful.
Heart and Motion, 30
Speaking of
years.
hearts,
Huh? Speaking of heart,
yeah.
yeah. Heart and Motion, 30 years. And I know all your interviews right now are around that because it released, the commemorative edition released today. And that's very exciting because it's reminding people it doesn't seem like 30 years at all. It feels like yesterday because so many of us just listen to those songs over and over again. It's not like they've gone out of style. You know, they're still part of our culture. And I've heard you talk about. I don't think I've ever really talked to you about Heart and Motion. I talked to you about Unguarded because that was my first Amy record. The one I was really fascinated with. Um, but I heard you talk about how Heart and Motion was. I want to have fun. I've been serious for a while and I want to have fun. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, just our personal life was filled with young children and, you know, just living on a tour bus with young children is you just everything you're laughing whether you're exhausted or
Right.
yeah, to me that record was just such a reflection of I'd always wanted to be a mom. When people say what are you most proud of in what you've done in music, without hesitation I say that I squeezed 4 pregnancies into a nonstop career.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just it was a beautiful time, and that record, for a lot of us, not just for me, but for the record company, for the producers, for a lot of the songwriters, we just see that. Not that there wasn't a lot that came before that, but the doors of opportunity that opened up as a result of that record.
Right.
It changed a lot for all of us. And I have to tell you, my favorite thing about celebrating this is so my inspiration for Baby Baby was my daughter Millie. She married in 2019, and July 4th, she sent out a message to the whole family, um, and she's expecting. And
Congratulations.
it's a baby girl. And of course, I was pregnant with her, and then all of that, she was a baby when I was writing that record. And to
Right.
me, it's like 30 years, oh my gosh. And now she's exactly where I was. So that's been a beautiful full circle.
Didn't you
Full
bring her
circle.
on stage? Was it at the Grammys or the?
Yes.
Um, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was
Yep.
a classic moment.
That was really sweet. Man, she was a trooper because she was a tired little thing, and she came out and helped me out with that song. Yeah.
When you did Heart and Motion, it's just curiosity because I'm still kind of a outsider. Kind of looking into the music industry, but I know when you have records that you put together, you have people come alongside you and say, "Hey, let's go here, let's go there. Let's do this, let's do that." And you seem like a really easygoing person. Um, but are there ever any moments where you say, "No, that's I'm not gonna like." I would imagine there are a lot of gentle nudges to say, everything from your outfits that you wear or the structure of the tour or anything like that. Do you just go with the flow, or how does that work?
My favorite way to do any job, really is just to enjoy camaraderie and teamwork. And I love when you're working to bring a song into a full production. It goes from something super simple, but everybody brings their gifts. I wouldn't begin to tell the drummer how to play his part, and
Right.
but because it's endless possibilities. Everything is endless possibilities when it comes to creativity. Um, and in that era, I leaned very heavily on Mike Blanton. And Mike Blanton was one of my managers, um, maybe it was because I was a hard worker and super laid back, but willing. Um, I had always worked with just one producer up till that point, but Mike said, I really let's try
Hmm.
something different. And, you know, I mean, um, I look back on that time and, maybe he had a big master plan, but music is, everybody's just doing the best they can. And
Right.
does this song move you? Oh my gosh, it's a pretty quick response. Somebody writes something and you, you just have a
Hmm.
visceral response to it. And mostly what I remember about that time is just feeling so responsive to my own creativity and other people's creative ideas. I guess I was kind of editing and saying yes, no, yes, no. Um, the only outfit thing I ever remembered was when we back at that time, Starwood Amphitheater was a big outdoor, beautiful amphitheater. It doesn't exist anymore, but that's where we did our tech rehearsals. And anyway, and I remember my family coming and sitting out there, and I was doing my outfits, and they had the moving lights and all that. And afterwards, my mother came back to me, and there was one long dress I think that was kind of sheer, and she said, "You know that white dress? I can see right through it." And I said, "Well, I mean, I've got clothes on underneath it, but and she just the way, and she's such a beautiful, elegant woman. She said, "Whew, don't do that to yourself." And I went, "Okay, yeah, all right." But that's the only thing I ever, I mean, I've never, um, yeah, I appreciated your input on that. But to me, it's, what somebody experiences with an evening of music. It's it's sort of all of it. I've never been, you know, as far as clothing, I was just like, somebody help me because if I don't
Right.
get help, I'll be in jeans and a t-shirt. I'm just going
Yeah.
to default to the lowest effort.
But you just had fun,
You're
really.
just having fun,
Yeah.
yeah. And of course, it just took every waking moment. I remember getting off the stage with massive crowds and just so much enthusiasm and crawling onto the bus after meeting 100 people after the show, and Phyllis, our nanny, would be holding Millie and go, "I saved this diaper for you." And I was like, "Okay, woo."
Yeah.
It was just, yeah, it was everything all at once. And I
Yeah.
remember my kids on the sides of the stage just, learning to walk on the bus.
Right.
Learning, it was, but we were all together, and it was long before social media. You really, wherever you were,
You were
that
there.
was where your energy was. You were there. And I will say, looking back 30 years, I was in a few places with my whole heart. I was in the studio, I was with my family, I was on a tour bus,
Right.
but I was 100% present
Yeah.
and so thrilled with that stretch of life.
The cool thing is that you're releasing these songs and you're doing a thing for the fans. The package and the deluxe edition of Heart Emotion. I always think it's really cool when people do something special for the fans and not just like a label has put it together.
Right.
I think you had input in that, and you throughout the years I've seen where you have interacted with fans. You have Tennessee Weekend coming up,
Mm-hmm.
which sounds awesome. And I'll be at one day. I'm going to come because it looks like so much fun. But talk about why it's important for you to be involved in the projects where you meet fans face to face and do things for your longtime listeners.
Well, there's so many things about um, Well, first off, I look at everything that I have, and I know that if somebody had not gone to a concert or purchased a record, my life would look very different than it does. And so when I think about you know, we host a couple of weeks of summer camp, a day camp at our farm for kids from all different backgrounds. But I always think when we're prepping the farm, I wouldn't have this farm if it
Right.
hadn't been for the support of people that liked my music. That compels me to make that farm available for other people.
Right.
And it's funny because the first uh, Tennessee weekend I ever hosted, and there have not been very many, three maybe, over the years, over the last 9 years. Um, it was inviting people from, just saying, hey, we're going to have a music weekend. And I wanted to create sort of a surprise experience for them of that they came knowing that they had signed up for a few things that they were guaranteed to experience, but I wanted to surprise them with the amount of philanthropy that we were able to do because they showed up.
Uh-huh.
And so, in the course of those days, 2.5 days that they were here, I invited different people that were doing important work in Nashville and said, tell us what you're doing. And then I looked at all of the people that had attended and I said, this check is from all of them because we had sort of built into the ticket price, unbeknownst to the attendees.
Wow.
Um, because I was taught by my family, by my great grandfather, that a life of giving is a more meaningful life, and it expands your life exponentially. And the best way to I think to experience something that would maybe um, compel someone to consider living differently is if they have a great experience.
Uh-huh.
And so that Tennessee weekend was to have fun, but it was also to say you can build into a lifestyle always an element of giving, even in the fun. And
Right.
so, but hosting that weekend, it was so funny. It was the first time I had ever really opened up the farm to a big group, and 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 I learned through that. It's like the attendance of all those people led eventually to allowing the farm to be the host location of a day camp because I was going, no, it's true. A lot of people can be here. It doesn't even feel crowded, or yeah. So I sort of look at it like a big figure eight. I've received so much emotional, spiritual support from people who've listened to my music, and then I've also been inspired by them to use what I have
Right.
to, um, yeah, to help other people.
Yeah. Um, I, some of the interviews I've seen lately, you talk about music giving you a platform to kind of diversify your interests and to do some other things. It seems like, like the day camp and philanthropy and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be fair to say that the future is not project to project as far as music goes, but maybe other things outside of music? Are those things kind of rising up at the same time?
Absolutely, yes. Um, yeah, I mean, the only thing on the horizon right now between now and Christmas is a lot of music. A lot of tour dates, then a lot of Christmas shows after that. But yeah, but music it's just a fraction of how I spend my time and energy,
Right.
and um, and I love it. Um, but I don't. There, the new experiences, the new adventures to me are not in music. The new
Right.
adventures are in other areas.
Yeah.
And what really makes something an adventure is when you are experiencing risk. That's what, whoo.
Yeah.
And that, what creates risk for one person is not what creates risk for another person. But to me, risk, it, you know, um, I love using what I have to help build community.
Uh-huh.
And so mostly what I have just been trying to do is make available what I have. And
Yeah.
I think that's to me, that's a more interesting story than
Right.
being the center focus of the story. I
Right.
kind of, at this stage in life, I actually kind of like being support crew.
Yeah.